Hello, Mark Crossfield here. We're going to take a look at Stephen Gallagher's swing today. Some footage I shot at a TaylorMade SLDR promotion day. Great high-speed footage of Stephen's swing. He does a couple of things which are really interesting, actually, related to what people might call lag, and then I would relate it more to how the handle relates to the head coming through impact and what you might have to do to the loft to make sure you find target. So let's take a look at Stephen Gallagher's swing, Ryder Cup rookie this week. Hopefully he's going to perform and get some points for us. Let's get stuck in. Right guys, let's take a look at Stephen Gallagher's swing here. He's a very consistent player. He's got an interesting action. Some great footage here I shot at a TaylorMade day, like I said earlier. He hits the ball long enough. He's not the longest on tour, but he's got enough when he needs it. On these videos, we were doing a long driving competition. He was carrying it 300 yards when he went for one. And then averaging, I would say, around 270, 280 carry if he's fairway finding. A relatively lowish flight. Now, look, watch what happens. He's got a relatively neutral setup from this angle. It's not the best angle, but we'll get to see the points, I think the most interesting points with his swing. If we start his backswing, nothing seems untoward, seems quite neutral. When we get to the first parallel here, we do see the club face maybe a fraction more turned down than some. And certainly what people might call a textbook position. They would call that slightly closed maybe, so it's slightly twisted down to the ground than some. And then as we go back, if we get to the left arm parallel to the ground position, you see here the face is almost pointing backwards. So again, that club face, I would call that twisted. People will call that closed. So again, it's twisting around this axis of this shaft a little bit. If we take him up to the top of his backswing, lovely full shoulder turn, hips have rotated, he's turned into a right knee that's remained a little bit flexed. Club face a little bit pointing up to the sky, doesn't look as twisted now at this point. Watch what happens as he starts his downswing. Watch what happens as he gets this nice little squat down into his left side. But we see him trying to bring his hands very close to his body. And then in turn, the shaft is left back. Now, people would call this a massive amounts of lag. I would say he's just pulled his hands closer towards him. I mean, I'm not sure how anyone can move that wrist any further than X. We've all got about the same mobility in that wrist. There's people with less. There isn't particularly many people with more than, say, a certain range that I certainly hit. So how you create more angle there, more lag as people call it. I'm not quite sure on that one. Anyway, as he comes in to hit the ball, what we notice is look how quick the butt end of his handle gets almost over the ball with the club way behind him. Now, people call this powerful. He's going to take all that out and he's loads of speed to take that out. For me, he could have less angle here and I think he would hit as strong. I think lag is so misunderstood with golfers. What it does require him to do, though, is it requires him to have the face turned around the angle of the shaft, because when he hits the ball, which I'll show you in a few frames in a second, if I just move this, present this to camera, look, he's got the handle a long way forward, much further forward than I would have it. And look what that does to this stick on the club. It points it off to the right. So the only way to get his face relating to his path is he's going to have to turn it around the axis of the shaft. So if I wanted to get my face pointing within 2 degrees of target, say if I push the handle forward as far as Stevie's got it, the face would be maybe open 10 to path. If the path was 0, so if I want to bring that face around, I'm going to have to turn it 10 degrees around the axis of that shaft if my path was 0 to have a 0-0 kind of hit. Not that that's optimum, just as an example. Okay? Now watch what happened on the way back, or remember what happened on the way back. He was putting that spin in, putting that curve in. So he was putting that twist of the club face around the axis of the shaft on the way back, because on the way down, he's obviously worked out that he's going to present the handle quite a long way forward. Now this isn't the best camera angle to show that, but he will have a lot of handle lean in this. Now what that will do, if I push the handle forwards and then turn the club around the axis of the shaft, so if I do it on this tabletop here, if I push the handle forwards, that points the face off to the right, does nothing to loft, but then I turn the face around the axis of the shaft. Look how this stick is much more parallel to the tabletop here now, so it's not got much loft, next to none. So he is taking loft off his club. Now, when we film this video, if we take Stevie through here, you'll see his body just stops, really halts well. I mean, it literally stops on the way through and then just carries on at the end. Someone pointed out in one of my other videos, when you watch these top players at high speed, it's very interesting, if we just watch this, how his hips almost stop completely into impact. You can only speed up on the downswing as quick as you can stop on the downswing as well. So if you were to speed up faster or more aggressively than you can actually stop, so strengthening in your left side and things like that, you would fall over. So he is very good at stabilising that impact, hip stopping like I've done in other videos. So he's turning into the ball, his hips almost halt as he hits the ball then, and he throws the club out to the ball. Now, what's interesting with Stephen is he was hitting, on this day that we filmed, he was hitting a 12-degree driver. So he is obviously aware that he's compromising loft somehow. So he's lofting up massively, and obviously this is the loft up driver. So let's say he didn't have the CG back like he has on this one, he'd probably still use a 10, where his other compatriots might be using 7 and 8. So he's obviously taking 2 or 3 degrees of dynamic loft off with this twist around the shaft and that handle lean, but then just putting it back in at the start to get his desired launch and distance, which he was definitely getting. It's a great swing. I love the simplicity of the hit. I love the fact that it is, and this is such a cliche I think amongst golf tuition and amateurs, he is very armsy on the downswing. So he loads his left side up, he turns his hips and shoulders in, but from about kind of last parallel here with the shaft, he is literally just undoing those angles into the ball as much as he can and keeping his body almost out of that whole movement. The club is by far accelerating past the body like it should do. Interesting swing, and I like his follow through. Actually, you can really see the amount of wrist on that follow through there, where his hips are almost, I mean, they're not really turned to face the target at this point, but he's almost in completion of follow through, so those wrists are really ahead of his body turn on the way through. Let me know what you think, guys. Post comments down below. Lag, I think it's a confusing one for people. I think he just leaves his in, doesn't take it all out, and then twists the club around the axis of the shaft. Keeps some of the lag in, more than others who might line up more at impact, but still hits it a long way. This is where people are getting so confused, I always think, with lag. He just brings that handle out in front of him more than others and understands he's got to turn that club around that axis of the shaft. Very interesting how stable he is with his body through impact, because he's getting that lining up those impact conditions with what he's done in his backswing and how far forward his hands are. It's a good looking swing. Let's hope he wins some points for us in the Ryder Cup coming this week. Thanks for watching. Post comments. Love to hear what you've got to say, and we'll speak to you all soon. So if you like what's going on here, don't be afraid to subscribe to the channel. Also, thumbs up the video, post comments. Love to hear what you guys got to say. Let's keep it social. The more we talk, the more we share, the easier this game will get for everybody. So if you want to find me on Facebook here, you can find me on Facebook. If you want to tweet me, find me on Twitter here as well. Just follow the links, all in the description. Come and join the show. Get active, get involved, get playing some better golf. Thanks for watching. Hello, Mark Crossfield here. We're going to take a look at Stephen Gallacher's swing today. Some footage I shot at a TaylorMade SLDR promotion day. Great high-speed footage of Stephen's swing. He does a couple of things which are really interesting, actually, related to what people might call lag. And then I would relate it more to how the handle relates to the head coming through impact and what you might have to do to the loft to make sure you find target. So let's take a look at Stephen Gallacher's swing, Ryder Cup rookie this week. Hopefully he's going to perform and get some points for us. Let's get stuck in. Right, guys, let's take a look at Stephen Gallacher's swing here. He's a very consistent player. He's got an interesting action. Some great footage here I shot at a TaylorMade day, like I said earlier. He hits the ball long enough. He's not the longest on tour, but he's got